Everyone at Elmwood High knew her as the quiet girl. Nora didn't speak unless spoken to. She walked alone, sat in the back of the class, and never raised her hand. Always dressed in plain hoodies and jeans, she avoided eye contact and melted into the background. Most teachers forgot she was even in their class. But people like Jason Wright didn't forget her. Jason was the self-proclaimed king of Elmwood, captain of the wrestling team, loud, arrogant, and always surrounded by his pack of laughing friends. He made a sport of finding weakness, and Nora's silence, her solitude, her refusal to react, infuriated him. "Hey, ninja girl," Jason called one afternoon in the hallway as Nora walked past. She didn't stop. "Too good to say hi, or did your tongue fall out in science class?" His friends burst out laughing, blocking her path. Nora stepped to the side, but Jason sidestepped in front of her. Her eyes didn't flinch, but her hand subtly gripped the strap of her bag tighter. "What's in the bag? Bricks, bombs, maybe your diary full of sad poetry?" "Leave her alone, man," a timid voice from behind murmured. It was Marcus, a classmate who had seen Jason pull this routine one too many times. Jason turned to him. "Mind your business, nerd." But then he did something that crossed the line. He raised his hand and slapped Nora. It wasn't hard enough to bruise, but it echoed. The hallway fell silent. Even Jason's friends froze. Students nearby stopped, unsure whether to laugh, run, or intervene. Nora didn't cry. She didn't yell. She dropped her bag. Jason barely had time to smirk before her hands moved, fast, deliberate, trained. In a flash, Nora gripped his wrist, twisted his arm, and stepped behind him in a fluid motion. With a sharp pop, his elbow bent in a way elbows aren't meant to bend. Jason howled in pain, collapsing to the ground. His friends backed up, staring in disbelief. The silence was shattered by the approaching footsteps of Miss Carmichael, the math teacher. "What is going on here?" Jason lay on the floor, clutching his arm, groaning. Nora stood still, her expression unreadable. The principal's office was full. Jason's parents were furious, his arm in a sling. Nora sat between her mother and a lawyer. "I want her expelled," Jason's father bellowed. "She assaulted my son!" "She was defending herself," Nora's lawyer responded calmly. "She broke his arm!" "He slapped her. That's assault." The principal, a balding man with wire-rimmed glasses, cleared his throat nervously. "Let's review the security footage first." The room watched the clip in complete silence. Jason's slap, Nora's counter, Jason screaming on the floor. The video ended. "Your son initiated physical violence," the lawyer said quietly. "My client simply defended herself." Jason's mother hissed. "What kind of teenage girl knows how to do that?" Nora's mom finally spoke. "She's been training in martial arts since she was 6. 3 black belts. She just made the national youth team last month." The room was silent. By the next morning, the video had gone viral. Someone had leaked it from the security feed, and within hours, TikTok and Instagram were flooded with clips captioned, "Quiet girl goes John Wick on bully. Don't mess with silent students. Karate girl snaps bully's elbow." Nora hated it. She never wanted fame. She never wanted attention. She only wanted peace. But now, everyone wanted to know who she was. Students at school stared, some with awe, some with fear, some with still judgment. Jason wasn't on campus anymore. His parents pulled him out. Rumors spread he cried for hours in the ER. At lunch, a girl Nora barely knew sat beside her. "Hey, that was incredible what you did." Nora looked up. "Thanks," she said quietly. Why didn't you ever fight back before? Nora paused. Because silence isn't weakness, but sometimes it's misjudged as permission. The girl nodded slowly. Well, people see you differently now. Nora didn't answer. She didn't care how people saw her. She only cared about walking hallways without being treated like a target. A week later, the school held a seminar on bullying, self-defense, and student safety. It was clearly a PR move. Nora was asked to speak, but she declined. She didn't want to be a poster child. She wasn't looking to inspire or retaliate. But quietly, she began helping others. A boy who used to be mocked for his stutter found a friend in her. A girl being cyberbullied was given advice about setting boundaries and speaking up. Even Marcus, the boy who tried to intervene that day, began walking with her between classes. "You ever think of teaching self-defense?" he asked one afternoon. "I'm not a teacher." "You are, though. You just don't talk a lot, but people listen when you move." That made her smile. Months passed. Jason never returned to Elmwood. Rumors spread he transferred to a private school, humiliated and haunted. Some said he couldn't even wrestle anymore. Nora's life returned to a version of normal, still quiet, still calm. But the way people looked at her changed, not because they feared her, but because they finally saw her. Not invisible, not weird, just strong in silence. One spring afternoon, while packing up her locker, she heard shouting down the hallway. Two boys were cornering a younger student against the wall. Old habits kicked in. Nora dropped her bag, walked calmly toward them, and stood silently nearby. "Back off! This has nothing to do with you!" one boy snapped. She didn't speak. She just took one step closer. The boy's eyes widened as recognition dawned. "You're the girl from the video." The other one tugged his sleeve. "Dude, let's go." "Whatever," he muttered, backing away. They ran. The younger student stared at her. "Thank you," he whispered. Nora nodded. "Are you okay?" He nodded. She walked away before anyone else could gather, because that was her way. No crowd, no spotlight, just quiet strength right when it was needed.